Hey folks, today we are going to get out and fish another of the ZMan Micro Finesse baits. This time we're going to be fishing the 2-inch stingers. So this Micro Finesse baits range has blown me away. So every time I tie one on and throw it out there, I'm like, is anything even going to see that thing out there in the water? But it normally only takes a few casts and then bang, I get a rattle, the rod loads and we're fish on. So I've had great success on the Micro Finesse baits already that I've fished. I fished the 1.75 inch shad fries and caught a bunch of brim, grunter, those sorts of things. But I also got two nice GTs, one about 45 centimeters and one about 55 centimeters. So solid trevally on a tiny plastic. Then I went out with the tiny ticklers, 1.75 inch, and absolutely smashed the brim. Had a great session fishing across the weed and on the weed edges with that ZMan 1.75 inch tiny ticklers, smashing the brim. So the tester today, we're going to get out and we're going to fish this guy. So this is the 2-inch stingers and it's a tiny jerkbait profile. So it's virtually got the same body as our shad fries. So it rigs really well on a #2 HeadlockZ Finesse jig head. So that's what I've got it rigged up today. I've rigged a few colors up ready to go. And the difference is where the shad fries has a little paddle tail, this guy has a tiny little jerkbait segmented tail, and that tail actually has a cross on the end of it. So it actually has a 3-dimensional cross section that is like a bulbous end on the tail. So what that means is anytime you move the plastic around, that tail is catching water. So the tail is moving around the place as well. So not only will it be a really cool little jerkbait flicked out and hopped and twitched and shaken across the flats and across the weed and down the drop-offs, it'll also fish really well vertically. So if I was fishing down beside bridge pylons or rock walls or jetties or those sorts of things, I could fish this horizontally and just jig it, and that tail will dance around and attract the fish. And that's what I did with, I took a little bloke, 10-year-old fella, and we went up to the local pontoon. He was having a ball flicking these little things around, and he got yellowtail pike, Moses perch and little trevally all eating that thing there. So I'm confident that we'll catch fish on it today when we're out there, just a matter of what species we come across and how big they are and that sort of thing. So that 2-inch stingers, a little tiny jerkbait profile with that same nice bulbous body as the 1.75 inch stingers. I'm rigging it today on TT HeadlockZ Finesse UV jig heads in a 1/8 ounce in a size 2. That'll give me a nice long cast and it'll get it down there in deeper sections of drains and edges. Send it up with a bit of Procure scent, and I've got a cool range, a mix of colors in the plastic and those HeadlockZ UV heads here. So I've got all sorts of color combinations, but we'll talk more about this gear and the color combinations that I'm fishing and why I'm trying them when we're out there on the water. So let's load up the yak, let's get sorted and get out there and get stuck into a few. Fish on. All right folks, just heading out for the end of the run out. We've got our Micro Finesse stingers on our HeadlockZ Finesse UV painted. I've just found a little patch of bait, so I'm going to have a few casts into the bait and just see if I can stir something up. Going to kick off with the black UV head and the stingers in bumblebee color, which is a black top to match the jig head with that nice chartreuse belly for a bit of pop. We got a little bit of wind this morning. Sorry if you're getting wind in the mic there, but we got a bit of wind, so I'm going to fish a 1/8 head. You know, you could fish a 1/12 or a 1/16 in the water I'm fishing, which is only about 1 meter deep to less. But with the wind, I want to be able to punch a decent cast, so I'm fishing a 1/8 this morning. We'll just twitch it around for a bit and see what we can come up with. Yep. Oh yeah, drilled up the yak. Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. Oh, he had one go at it and missed it. Then he drilled it. Oh, that's cool. Oh, he scoffed it. He liked the look of that little tadpole. So that's the ZMan stingers. Well inside the mouth of this brim, that's for sure. He came back and drilled it at the yak. So not a monster, but I'm stoked with that because I was just twitching that little guy, that little tail twitching around. He hit it once and then he came back and he just absolutely inhaled it. That is cool. That's the black and the bumblebee. thought that one would go right, especially dirty water. That's going to be a great dirty water colour, low light conditions, that sort of thing. I've got a real nice one here to try as well that I reckon will be an absolute slayer. This is the motor oil colour in the HeadlockZ UV Finesse head, and chartreuse glow. That's going to be dynamite. Just twitched around. We had a bit of a test drive at the pontoon, me and a little young bloke, and he got stuck into them on this colour. Yellowtail pike, little trevally, Moses perch, all sorts of things eating this glow chartreuse colour on a motor oil head. It looks really, really awesome. Well, that was cool. We've only been out here for half a dozen casts, and we got our first brim on the StingerZ, just twitching and shaking it. Fishes vertically beautifully, like around a pontoon we fished it vertically and caught a bunch of different species. So for any of you guys fishing vertical structure like rock walls or bridge pylons, or anywhere where you want to fish brim vertically, I reckon this little guy will get absolutely annihilated. Fished around the bridge pylons and rock walls, anything vertical, jetties and all those sorts of things. Alright, let's see if we can get this glow chartreuse eaten by something. Yep. Yeah. Oh, that feels tiny. What are you? Oh, micro flatty. Micro baits, micro flatty. He's not the one we're after, but that's pretty cool. He scoffed that little fella. Righto, buddy, let's not hurt you. Come on, use that back. How's that little rocket? What a cool little flatty. Shows the system's healthy. Oh, yep, what are you lurking up over the flats? Oh, what are you, angry critter? I definitely don't miss this glow chartreuse colour. It's a beautiful colour, especially twitching it through the shallows like that. They're not going to miss it. Oh, what are you, cranky fish? Oh, it's a nice brim, beautiful brim. So that brim has scoffed the glow chartreuse colour in the StingerZ, ZMan 2-inch StingerZ, shaken over the top of the flats. A handful of brim. That looks really cool on that motor oil head. So that's a UV motor oil head, chartreuse glow in our StingerZ. Oh, get off there, buddy. Pinned beautifully with that number 2 Gamakatsu chemically sharpened hooks. Pinned him right in the jaw. Oh, so there you go. Gamakatsu number 2 black nickel chemically sharpened hook, super sticky hook. That guy's just picked it up off the flats and scoffed it in there. Beautiful. See you, mate. That's a nice Larry colour if you want a bit of UV pop. I've got another UV type colour rigged here as well, so we'll switch it up again. We've got another Brimbo. So this is the orange head. I call this guy the beacon when I fished it the other time on the ticklers, because it is an absolute beacon in the water. This is the fire truce colour on an orange UV head, so they're not going to miss that guy. That's for sure. He is bright as. So I think it'll be awesome, I reckon, on the reddies and any sort of schooling, aggressive schooling fish that you're jigging and fishing. Real good reaction-y type colour. I think it'll be a cool flatty colour too when they're on tiny bait. In the water, this thing you just twitch it around and it just dances. It's a beautiful little placky. Fire truce. Let's see if we can fire one up. The jerkbait style tail on this little guy lends itself to being twitched, hopped, twitched, shaken, that sort of thing, just to get some dancing movement in that tail. The little shad fries has a paddle tail, so you can slow roll it as well and it will swim with that little paddle tail, whereas this guy likes to be twitched and shaken around to get that tail really dancing, and that that interesting cross section on the tail catches water and makes it really dance, especially when you're just twitching it vertically. So don't forget it as a vertical option, fishing jetties, pontoons, rock walls, bridges, all that sort of thing. But on the flats like this here, we've already got a couple of brim in quick time, and we're just using it as basically like a little jerk bait, just twitching it and shaking it over the shallows. So the anchor's out the front here, and I'll basically just work my way up the drain, pull up the anchor, move up a bit further, work that area, and just keep working my way up into the drain, using the anchor to hold position so that the wind doesn't blow us back out of the drain. Yep, on the fire truce. Brimbo, not a big fella. He's settle down, buddy. He's up turbo, That little number 2 Gamakatsu finding its mark. Again, not a big brim, but pretty cool that the fish are getting into these little stingers. Yep. Oh, a bit of bait flicking in there. That fish was holding right in where the bait was flicking. Oh, it's fired up. What are you, buddy? Flat fish. Oh, a little flatty on the Micro Finesse. That's pretty cool. Nice chunky little fish. Went pretty hard. Oh. That's on the glow chartreuse colour, motor oil head. Oh, settle down, buddy. He was holding right up in the weed, that guy. Nice handful of flatty. Pinned nicely. Glow chartreuse. Oh, that little number 2 gets him. Glow chartreuse on that motor oil head. 41, so not a big fish, but legally if you're looking for a feed. So that's pretty cool. That's on that StingerZ Micro Finesse ZMan Plucky. Alright, I had to change my leader. It was chewed by that flatty, so thought we'd change things up as well. So there we go. We're going with a very natural presentation. That is the bloodworm colour in the TT HeadlockZ Finesse UV head. Blue glimmer sparkle plastic on there. So very, very natural looking. I better put a bit of secret sauce on him. A bit of Sardine Pilchard Procure. Nice bait fishy flavour. Help stir up the bite, keep him hanging on. Alright, we'll get that little guy out. We're actually sitting in the weed, so while we're sitting in the weed I might just have a look at what pockets are around us that I can pick. Yep, on the paws. That fish picked it up on the paws end. Nice flatty. Oh, don't bite me off, buddy, don't bite me off. Oh, no, come on, get in there. There you go, that's a nice flatty. He's on the blue glimmer sparkle colour. I don't think I was recording when I caught my last brim on that blue glimmer sparkle, but he was a nice brim. Now we've got a nice flatty, and he has scoffed that little bait. So check that guy out. That's the blue glimmer sparkle colour. Bloodworm head, 1/8 ounce, and that's a nice pan sized flatty. He'd be a dinner sized fish, that bloke. Alright, that blue glimmer sparkle colour on the bloodworm head. Got a nice brim and then also a pan sized flatty, so I'm going to change it up again. Basically just picking the weed edge here. The wind's pushing me against a slow run in now, and I'm just basically flicking into the weed edge, just hopping and pausing the plastic out. So we'll give the bumblebee colour another go on the black head, and I'm just going to be flicking right in on that weed edge. Yep. Oh, fish on. That feels pretty solid. Up over the top of the weed. What are you, buddy? He's on a mission. That's a beautiful flatty. He's not happy. So that's our bumblebee colour on the black head. This fish was feeding up. You can see where I'm coming up on top of the weed here. And it's a beautiful big flatty. Come on. Real nice size flatty. Those Micro Finesse catch all size fish. Great little finesse plastic for when the bite's tough conditions, when the conditions aren't on your side like today. We've got that pretty dodgy tide, wind working against us, but this is a nice flatty. Come on fish, in you come. Beautiful fish in the net. Alright, I'll put this bigger girl just on the grips so that I don't get hurt, she doesn't get hurt, and we can get her back in the water. Oh, beautiful. You can see that little StingerZ there found its mark right in the corner of the jaw. Alright, let's get a measure on you. So we are about 40 for that mark on you. So about 57, almost to 60 I reckon that one. It's pretty close. We can't get a real good measure on her, but that's a beautiful flatty. I'll take those grips off, get ourselves a photo, and then we'll send her back in. Oh, it's beautiful. Righto, almost 60 centimetres of flathead pinned on that number 2 Gamma Micro Finesse Plucky swimmer. There's a school of bait swimming under me that look about the size of the Micro Finesse that I'm flicking around, so that's a good sign. That's just a massive runner bait. There's a whole giant bait school. They're all about the size of the Micro Finesse, so fish will definitely be feeding on that size bait with that swimming around here, so that's a great sign that the fish will eat the Micro Finesse. Yep, fish on. There we go. Oh, another Brembo. Brim loving the Micro Finesse. It's just that beautiful little bite-sized profile. Oh, mouthful of Micro Finesse. There, buddy. Yep, there we go. Fish on. Up on top of the flats. What are you, buddy? Brembo feels like. Fired up. Cranky Brembo. Oh, he's giving me some grief on the 1 to 3 kilo gear. He's not a bad Brembo. Just stuck with that bumblebee after that nice flatty we got, and rewarded with another fish. We've caught plenty of brim, and we've also landed a few flatties, including that nice one, almost 60. So it's been a great little session on the flats, that's for sure. Well, up into a drain and fishing the flats. You can see the bottom there, probably sandy sort of bottom, rubbly bottom. The fish are just moving across that flat. Yep, there we go. No, missed him. Yep, fish on, there we go. Another Brembo. Oh, come on, buddy. Come on, mate. Oh, he's got a bit of stick, that guy. They're loving that bit of flow, bit of water flow coming in. Here's another nice brim. That one's on the fire truce colour. Beautiful fish. Nice, healthy, heavy fish. Drilled that fire truce colour on the orange head. Come on, get a photo of that bloke and we'll chuck him back in the water. It's done the job today. We've got ourselves a handful of brim, got ourselves a few flatties, including that nice 60 centimetre fish. And now we're just basically got the tide running in, but the wind's sort of pushing us along and out. So we're just using that wind to push us out over these sand patches here. See if there's a Brembo in these sand patches to finish off our session. nice water flow here as the tide starts to push over this bank. So that'll see brim moving over here looking for food. And when that water is moving quickly like that, they generally eat pretty aggressively, like they're not going to hesitate. And have a real good look at what you cast at them. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be feeding, so I like to keep that plastic moving. Yep, fish on. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a real big one, that one. Oh, we're getting a little bit angrier. Just a little bloke, but another fish on that fire truce and orange combo. Change it up again. While we've got this little bit of flow, we might as well have a bit of fun, catch a couple more. Might get a big one in amongst them, you never know, or a floodie lurking up over the bank as well. So I've got that blue glimmer sparkle on again on that bloodworm head. This is a more natural presentation. Might produce a bigger fish. Been a good fun session on the flats. Oh, a few brim, a few flatties. Hit that drain and then hit some flats, and it's been awesome fun twitching these Micro Finesse plastics around. That is the 2-inch ZMan StingerZ. Deadly little plucky. Righto folks, there we go. Quick fun little session on the flats and in a drain, fishing the Micro Finesse plastics from ZMan. So that's the ZMan Micro Finesse BaitZ. That is the 2-inch StingerZ. So I've got them on the 1.75 inch shad fries and the 1.75 inch tiny ticklers. Now we've had a good fun session on that 2-inch StingerZ, rigged on a 1/8 ounce in a number 2 hook, and that's in that TT HeadlockZ Finesse UV in those painted jig heads. So I just matched up some colors with some painted heads. Some of those colors would excel in dirty water, some would excel in clean water, but we've had a great session today mixing it up, landing a bunch of brim and also a few flatties, including that nice almost 60 centimeter fish. So there you go, get out there, check out those Micro Finesse baits and get stuck into a few yourself. Fish on.